In today's video, I'm going to be sharing details of a small cap stock which has a drug that could potentially treat 3 diseases and also a huge multi-billion dollar market opportunity. And for MMTLP, we're going to be looking at an urgent deadline as well as the other legal updates. And before we get started, let's have a look at what's happening in the markets. For Market Watch, we can see that the US-China trade deal groundwork has been laid ahead of the meeting. And we can also see here in terms of the stock market, it is facing a midweek double whammy in terms of the Fed decision, which is also colliding with the huge earnings week, and I think the biggest week so far this year. And from Peter Tuchman, we can see the S&P 500 did close at an all-time high, and this was following the news in terms of CPI. However, I think the big week is going to be the following week, where we do have a huge earnings week. In terms of stock news shared live in the Discord, there was news in terms of IREN, and in terms of UNH, there was also an upgrade from that, where there's a new price target of $423, and we are also expecting earnings for UNH. In terms of the key winners from the Nasdaq on close of play on the Friday, these included AMD, CEG, MU, and also SHOP, which I think are great long-term holds. But let's now have a look at ahead to earnings, which I think most of the major stocks are going to be calling earnings. These include SoFi, we have Enphase Energy, we have Meta, we have Lilly, we have Amazon, Apple, and also ExxonMobil, as well as Alphabet. So I think nearly all of them out there. For those of you who'd like to get a copy of my recent buy and sell alerts, one of the stocks that just sold for a 94% gain, I've just invested in a $19 stock, which I think has got huge potential, and currently for 2025 up close to 40%. So check out details of savvytrader.com. I would now like to share with you details of a small cap stock with huge potential, one drug that could look at treating 3 diseases simultaneously, and with a huge multi-billion dollar market opportunity, and certainly one to add on your watch list. This is a stock that has been previously featured on the channel, also known as ticker symbol NNVC, nanoviricides. So let's have a look at a company profile, and we can see here in terms of a reminder, this is a company that is a clinical stage nanobiopharmaceutical company, and it's looking at discovering, developing and commercializing drugs to combat viral infections. And we can see here in terms of recent news, just 6 days ago and also 4 days ago, with regard to measles, they are looking at treating the measles infection with their NV387, and there was recently shown strong antiviral activity and also significantly protected lungs from damage. And from Access Wire, we can also see here the drug could potentially be available for emergency use. So tremendous potential there. But let's have a look at the chart, and it has been trading fairly flat. However, on Friday it was up close to 7%, so a good momentum there. And we can also see here currently trading at $1.53, a market cap just 26.67 million. So I think any news on this would certainly make it run quite nicely. So in terms of the press release, what I'd like to share with you from recently as 22nd of October, we can see the news in terms of the measles infection. NV387 showed strong antiviral activity and significantly protected lungs from damage. So this is good news for the company. And the other significant thing to be aware of is currently there is no approved drug for treating measles. That is worldwide. And NV387 was found to have a direct antiviral effects against the measles virus. So I think the potential here, if it is approved, is huge. So let's have a look at some research from Small Caps Daily, and what they have stated is that the single drug could potentially treat RSV, the bird flu, and also long COVID, as well as monkeypox and measles, and may also help lower the risk of metastatic cancer returning in patients following viral infections. So I think there is no other drug similar to this out there as well. In terms of this N387 drug, it is looking at potentially addressing a worldwide market in excess of 2.5 billion and even close to $4.3 billion. It could potentially be a cure for the RSV infection, meeting a huge unmet need, and we also know obviously it could also be the first drug to treat measles. And in terms of influenza, the N387 was given orally, and the results were substantially superior to all 3 of the approved anti-influenza drugs. So again, huge potential there. As far as bird flu is concerned, that is also rising, and N387 could also look at addressing that. In terms of the phase 2 clinical trial of NV387 to treat monkeypox, this could also be a huge huge because in terms of the competitors, all the trials so far have been failed. So there's a huge possibility there for the N387 to get approved and be the first one. So in terms of the triple-demic viruses, COVID, flu and RSV, the N387 could be the first one to treat all of those in single use, so after approval. So huge potential there. In terms of the market opportunities, we know this could open up huge and large market opportunities for the company worldwide. And the market, especially for COVID-19, is expected to be approximately $16.2 billion by 2031. The market size for RSV therapeutics was estimated at around $2 billion in 2023, and this is expected to rise to $8.5 billion in 2031. So again, huge potential there. So in terms of the company, I think the future is certainly very exciting. There could be unstoppable growth. They also have sufficient funds to complete their ongoing trials. In terms of success for NV387, I think the company are looking to employ and revolutionize treatment of the viral infections as well as the pandemic to prepare their response in terms of the future. The company is also having a strong focus on advancing the NV387 through to phase 2 trials, and also the monkeypox and smallpox, as well as other viruses including flu. In terms of other things to be aware of, the company do have an innovative platform technology. They are well advanced in R&D. They also have a highly effective management team, extensive antiviral experience, and this should certainly place this company at the top of your watch list for huge catalyst growth in the future. So in terms of the company's overall drugs pipeline, we can see here at the top N387 going strong in phase 1 and phase 2 trials for RSV, COVID, monkeypox and influenza. But the company are also working on skin cream. They are working on HIV, AIDS, DNA, RNA and much more. So certainly a lot more going on. And finally, let's have a look at some of the key factors that you may need to consider with regard to potential investment in NNVC. We know it's a small cap company. We know the upside and the potential is huge. We know the results in terms of measles are certainly going in the right direction. The long-term forecasts are projecting explosive growth. The earnings price target around about $7.95 from 2025 represents a potential 420% upside. I think certainly it's one to look at for the future. So definitely undervalued and poised for huge returns in the future. So let's now have a look at some of the recent news and catalysts in terms of a summary. So we've seen the October 22nd press release in terms of measles. There was also an October the 20th press release, and that was a company's readiness for emergency use against measles. So September 2025, there was also a dual track phase 2 strategy for monkeypox and respiratory viruses presented, and good news there in terms of the social sentiment on X and social media. This is certainly heating up and traders are noticing technical breakout. So the upcoming earnings are going to be November the 24th. So keep an eye out on that in terms of the risk and the reward. So in terms of the risk, obviously there can always be clinical failures, funding delays or regulatory hurdles, but in terms of the bull case, I think these certainly outweigh the risk case, and it could catalyze 2 to 3x gains in the short term, with much more in the future, especially with regards to the success in the phase 2 and phase 3 at future times. So at current levels, there is potential upside. So I think as it's trading close to $1.50, certainly undervalued. I think the potential is huge. We know measles has got a strong resurgence. There is strong unmet need also for monkeypox. So obviously we know in terms of the pipeline, they are going strong in the phase 2. So keep an eye on that ticker symbol NNVC. So huge news coming, huge market opportunity for the future, and certainly one to add on to your watch list. Finally, let's have a look at the latest updates for MMTLP. So from Gardner Wade, he states here, at the end of October, days away, the MMTLP investors will have only a short window to act in terms of filing lawsuits. And if the quash is granted, be ready, get a lawyer on speed dial this week. The statute of limitations on financial crimes is looking at 3 years. I think what I would say to him is potentially the 3-year rule is with regard to the 9th of December 2025. So I'm not sure on his thinking in terms of the end of October, but obviously there is different opinions on that. So let's now have a look at a post from Scipio, who stated he can't begin to express his disappointment, frustration and anger in terms of the nearly 3 years have gone by and not a single agency or entity has stepped forward to address what happened. And I certainly think it did look as though Congress initially were going to do something about it. The authorities potentially were, but we certainly seem to have hit a roadblock right now. So we can see response here. Such a frustrating situation. What do you think the next step should be. So he states here, Rule 192, petition to the SEC, APA suit against the SEC, suit against FINTRA, complaints letters so far have produced zero tangible results. In terms of the community, what they have done so far has given substantial amount of evidence, and I certainly do agree with that. There have been congressional letters. Have they carried weight in court? I'm not sure about that. Do we need more letters? We certainly need more action in terms of evidence, and we need to obviously continue with everything that we are doing. So I think almost all of the community are not giving up. It's certainly something to continue with. We know the 3 years are almost up in terms of the anniversary of that, but obviously their fight will continue with many angles. And finally, thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.